In the heart of the wilderness, where the trees grow tall enough to swallow the sky and silence settles like a heavy blanket over the earth, stories of the unknown thrive. There is something about the deep forest that stirs the imagination, something ancient, something watching, something that has been whispered about for generations. This is where our journey begins in this gripping episode of Bigfoot Encounters Radio, where real people share true stories of encounters that defy explanation. These tales aren't spun from campfire smoke or invented for late-night thrills, at least, not according to those who lived them. They're accounts from hikers, hunters, travelers, and ordinary individuals who swear they saw something impossible moving just beyond the reach of the firelight. Picture yourself walking along a narrow forest trail just as the sun dips below the treetops. The air sharpens, carrying the smell of pine and damp earth. Shadows stretch long, and the forest begins its nightly chorus. Most hikers turn back before dark, but not everyone. For some, the sunset is when the real adventure begins, and when the line between reality and legend starts to blur. One such tale comes from a seasoned backpacker named Luke, a man who had spent more nights under the stars than in his own home. He wasn't easily frightened, but the night he camped near a remote lake in northern Washington, he felt something stirring that made every instinct scream to run. Long after midnight, as the wind fell silent and the forest froze in eerie stillness, he heard a deep, resonant grunt, too low for a bear, too powerful for a deer. It was followed by the rhythmic crunch of heavy footsteps circling his campsite. Every step vibrated through the ground. He peeked out from his tent, expecting a massive animal, but instead saw a towering dark silhouette, easily 8 feet tall, stride past the dying firelight. Luke didn't move a muscle. When morning came, he found enormous footprints in the soft mud, prints that did not resemble any creature found in field guides or wildlife manuals. That night changed him forever. He never camped alone again. Then there are the stories from families who venture into the woods seeking peace, only to find something watching them from a distance. One family recounts a trip to Oregon's forested valleys, where they parked their RV beside a creek and spent the day exploring. As evening approached, they noticed an unsettling pattern. Every time they looked toward the treeline, they spotted something ducking out of sight. At first, they brushed it off, believing it to be an animal curious about their presence. But after nightfall, the tapping began. Gentle at first, then insistent. Something knocked lightly on the side of the RV as though testing the boundaries. When the father opened the door and shined his flashlight outside, he caught a glimpse of 2 glowing amber eyes staring from the dense brush before vanishing in a blur of movement. The next morning, they found large hand-like prints on the windows, smudges far too high for any person to have left without climbing. The family cut their vacation short and left with a lingering sense that something had claimed that forest long before they arrived. What makes these stories all the more compelling is the consistency. People from completely different regions describe similar features. Towering height, massive shoulders, long arms, and an uncanny ability to move silently despite their size. And although skeptics argue these tales are misidentifications or exaggerated myths, those who have stared into the eyes of the unknown swear they'll never forget what they saw. Some encounters feel more like warnings than sightings, as though the creature is reminding intruders that the forest belongs to something older and more powerful. Hunters often describe an eerie sensation of being watched, followed by the sudden absence of wildlife. Birds fall silent, small animals vanish, the woods themselves seem to hold their breath. One hunter from Tennessee recalled tracking a deer when everything around him suddenly went quiet. Moments later, a deafening roar shattered the stillness, a sound so fierce and primal it sent him running in the opposite direction. He insists no bear or mountain lion could make a sound like that. It was deeper, louder, almost intelligent. He has never returned to that hunting ground since. Others report far more mysterious encounters. Strange structures built from branches woven together into arch-like shapes, stones arranged in deliberate patterns, or trees snapped in half at heights no human could reach. These signs appear in wilderness areas all across North America, fueling theories that Bigfoot isn't just a creature of legend but perhaps an intelligent, elusive being capable of hiding its presence from the modern world. Some even believe it communicates with wood knocks, howls, or subtle tree markings, leaving messages meant for others of its kind. Then there are the sounds, recordings captured late at night of unearthly screams echoing through mountain valleys. These audio clips are often sent to experts, who struggle to identify their source. They're too long for a mountain lion, too powerful for a wolf, and too complex to be natural distortion. For those who have heard these chilling cries with their own ears, there's no question, something unknown roams the forest. One particularly haunting story comes from a couple driving through the dense backroads of British Columbia in the early hours of the morning. Fog rolled and thickened low, and the forest loomed on both sides of the narrow road. As they rounded a bend, their headlights caught something standing in the middle of the pavement. Tall, broad, covered in dark, shaggy fur. It didn't flinch as the car approached. It simply stared at them with an unsettling calmness. The driver slammed on the brakes, stopping mere feet from the figure. For a moment, time seemed to hold still. Then, in a single fluid motion, the creature stepped over the guardrail and disappeared into the mist-covered forest. The couple sat trembling, unable to process what they had seen. They reported the encounter the next day, but authorities dismissed it as a bear sighting. They remain adamant. No bear walks on two legs that smoothly, nor does it look back with eyes that seem almost human. Why do these stories endure? Perhaps because they remind us that the world is still full of mysteries, secrets hidden in the shadows, just beyond the reach of civilization. Bigfoot represents the unknown, the untamed force of nature that refuses to be catalogued or explained. For believers, these encounters offer proof that not everything has been discovered. For skeptics, they serve as a challenge, a puzzle waiting to be solved. But for everyone who shares their story, the experience is unforgettable. Whether seen in a fleeting moment or heard echoing through the night, these encounters change people. They reshape their understanding of what might be living in the wilderness beyond the trails and campsites. So as you listen to these chilling accounts on Bigfoot Encounters Radio, allow yourself to step into the shoes of those who lived them. Feel the tension of the dark woods pressing in around you, the hairs rising on the back of your neck, the slow realization that you are not alone. Whether you believe or dismiss the stories as imagination, there's no denying their power. Bigfoot may remain a mystery, but the fear, awe, and wonder these encounters inspire are very real. And if you dare to subscribe, you may find yourself drawn deeper into the shadows, into a world where legends walk the earth and the truth hides just beyond the trees.